G'day there guys, it's Gummers here. I'm up in the Victorian High Country for Australia Day long weekend. I've been chasing deer all day, saw a few this morning, but nothing with antlers on it, so no luck on that front. However, I've been extremely lucky tonight to organise a property to go out and do a fox shoot on. So I'm going to be heading out with the thermals. Ideally, there'll be a few wild dogs kicking around. We can take one or two of them out. Haven't had any luck on that property so far on that front, but there's always plenty of foxes kicking around. The plan's going to be basically to sit around for an hour or two and see if any dogs walk out. If not, we'll start pinging the foxes. I'm pretty excited. It's a beautiful place, and I'm going to try and do something a bit special rather than just put up the thermal image, make a bit of an adventure for you and include you in the ride. So let's get into it. Alright, I just spoke to the property owner and he has just given me the all clear to use the 223. So that's going to give us a lot more distance and a lot more hitting power. So I've got the Lithgow LA102 in 223, and I've got the Mars oneleaf, Mars MT1000 LRF by oneleaf. So this is a fantastic little thermal unit. Absolutely love it. Punches well above its weight. And yeah, we're going to get stuck into them tonight. All right, so silly me forgot the tripod, so I'm going to be shooting off bipods tonight. We've got the Lithgow 223, plenty of flying power. Grass is short, so that's going to hopefully work in our favour, and always more accurate off the bipods, I find. So let's get stuck into them. All right, so the plan of attack basically is I'm going to set up at the chook shed, so that way any foxes that are going to naturally go past there and try and get to the chickens or be attracted by the smell, I'll hopefully be waiting to go whack them. And probably if I see them walking around out the back, I'll go out the back. If I see them down the end paddock, I'll go down the end paddock. But I'll give it a little bit of time just to see what happens with them coming to me. And it's such a great property that there's 4 or 5 different spots I can get to, but they always seem to be the opposite of where you are. If I'm in the front paddock, I'll be seeing them up on the hill in the back paddock. If I go to the back paddock, they'll all move to the front paddock. So they kind of move around, but that's all part of the fun. We've already got some visitors. I didn't know you were going to be out. All right, team, you guys are the bait. You got that? All right, I was going to try and get a bit more B-roll footage of how fantastic this property looks, but the property owner's 2 sons, they came out and we had a bit of a talk, and they told me whereabouts the dingoes were and the foxes were and the best spot for deer and all those kind of things. So lost a bit of a daylight there, but learned some valuable information about the property. So yeah, and it's darker than what it looks with the iPhone here. It looks a lot lighter on the screen than what it does in real life. So time to turn the thermals on and we'll see how we go. So after about 40 minutes, we finally have our first animal coming into the paddock, and what we can see is a sambar deer hind ranged at 270 meters. My goal for this evening was to get footage of a number of different animals, both native and introduced, and show you what this little oneleaf unit can do. So we're looking at this one through a number of different zooms, from 2x base magnification all the way up to 16x. And sambar are one of the hardest deer to hunt during the day. Their senses are amazing. They can smell you from half a kilometre away. They'll hear from 300 metres and just go the other way. But at night, they let their guard down, and you can actually get pretty close, as we're going to find out a bit later in the video. Now behind me, we have a couple of cows. They've recently just calved. There's a few young ones kicking around, but I just wanted to show you what cows look like. These ones are at 166 meters away. You can still see them in pretty good detail. So now we can see another sambar deer hind. It came down the hill quite aggressively. I didn't hit record then and there, but this one's ranged out to about 250 meters, and the fence line we can see the cows is about 300. But right now we've got a little fallow deer just above the center there. That one's prancing around on the hill line. We'll see that one again a bit later. Now, as it always goes, after an hour of nothing happening, I decided to change spot, took 20 steps, had one last look behind me, and what do I see? A fox up on the hill running in the other direction. So I did a couple of whistles on the predator caller, and I got the fox to just turn around and start coming in. But you notice how the sambar deer was also coming into the whistle to inspect it. So luckily she's safe tonight. We're not targeting deer, just foxes and wild dogs. But she came into about 60 meters in the end while I was trying to get the fox to come closer. Now, I was having a real hard time seeing the fox in the long grass. I didn't bring my tripod either, so I crept up past the chicken coop to the edge of the dam, and I decided to try and take a shot leaning on a fence post. So let's see what unfolds. Now, at the time, I had no idea how I missed him, and even reviewing the footage, the reticle was right on him. So maybe I did tag him. He did have a peculiar jump. Woo! Regardless, he was not hanging around to give me a follow-up shot. After spending an hour near the chicken coop and blowing that last shot, I decided it was time to move to a new spot. On the way, I triggered a stampede of the cattle and decided to make the most of it and check out the color palette on the one leaf unit. These cows are ranged at 35 meters, 37 meters there, so you can see them in pretty good detail. I'm just using the 35mm lens. However, the one leaf unit has detachable lenses, so you can put a 50mm or a 75mm on there as well. They look absolutely stunning, and I'm just showing you a couple of different color palettes on the cows here. After 40 minutes in the new spot, this fox finally popped out. I saw him with binocular, tried to get a better angle with a gun, and by then he basically disappeared. Should have fired right now, didn't, and never saw him again. So in an effort to try and get this fox to come back towards me, I let out a few whistles, and these two sambar deer were in the creek bed just in front of me. So when I first saw them, they would have been about 15 to 20 meters away. By the time I ranged them, they're a bit closer to 70, but we had a 15-minute honk off there before I got sick of it and just shined a torch at them until they went right up the top of the hill. But now again, these deer are safe. The property owner loves having them around, and he doesn't believe in whacking them at night with the thermals. He'd much rather have the fair chase and the thrill of the hunt there. So they live another day. "30 minutes go by and this fox comes over the hill. I blow the whistle and he just pops straight back over. Went to hop over the fence here and almost put my hand on this little bloke and squished him. So I decided to change spot and head up to the hill so I could look over the back paddock, and here's that fallow deer we saw at the start of the night, prancing around. He's about 50 meters away, and look at the size comparison with the cow in the background. Looks like it's got antlers. They don't come up too well in the thermal, but you can just see them on the side of its head there. When I realized it was 1:30, I set a timer for 30 minutes for pack-up time. Otherwise, I'll end up staying out all night, even though it's been quite uneventful. Then along comes this wombat, followed shortly after by a fox. I had the caller going, and these two both basically popped out of the forest in the background at the same time. Now, the grass is so thick, that's why you can't really see the fox there, because he's sort of being obscured there. So you can still see a little bit of the heat coming through, but not ideal. And I'm basically trying to balance the gun on a wire fence and realizing that this isn't going to work. Do I try and get a little bit closer to a wooden fence pole, or do I keep on trying to whistle in one over? Now, as this is happening, I hear a commotion to my right, and look what appears. Alright, I'm making my way up to fox number 1 for the night. It was about a 90-meter shot, so there. Cheers, I guess. No, nuts. There he is. Tell you what, I really needed this one. This is actually the 5th fox of the night. What was happening, and you'll see in the footage. I was watching a fox in the other paddock. I put on the caller and I was watching that fox, and then I heard a noise behind me, and then this one had maybe startled some of the birds in the trees, and they'd made some noise, and I turned and looked, and he was sneaking up behind me. So turned around, had a shot. First shot, don't know what happened, missed it. Can't use the long grass as an excuse over here, but behind me you can see how tall the grass is, so maybe that's why I missed it, but that's why I've missed them all tonight, maybe, who knows. But yeah, stopped here on the follow-up shot and dropped it on the spot. Whoop! That's how it goes, isn't it? You get nothing for the first 4.5 hours, then you get 2 in 5 minutes. Always the way. Now, the interesting thing about this one is he would have been watching me scalp his mate up there. So another little one, probably young one, I guess, feeling pretty light. We got high shot. Oh, we've blown the back out of that one, so we'll back that one off a tiny bit. Keep it on this angle so we don't have to see it, but yeah, I was up on the hill looking down, so I've hit it pretty high, and you can see a pretty nasty hole on the other side, which we won't go into detail and show you. But yeah, that one, I've been less than 100 meters away scalping the other one, and it's literally where I had the caller going, and pretty much practically where I shot from the first one. So he's sniffing around for me. And yeah, I've gone to walk down the hill, and I even took a 20-meter walk with the torch on, and it hasn't scared it off. I've just done a couple of lip squeaks, and it sort of stopped and looked, and it was about to take off, so it was now or never. And yeah, a bit of redemption after what's been a long and unfruitful night. To get 2 in the last 5 minutes is good. All right, so a bit of excitement to end the night. I basically made it back to the car and thought I'd take one last look in the paddock over to my right, and I found a couple of kangaroos, and I thought, well, may as well get a bit of B-roll footage for the one leaf that I can use to show some of our international viewers what Australian wildlife like kangaroos look like with multiple colour palettes. And sure enough, hear a little bit of rustling down to my left, and there's a fox. So yeah, basically had to take a standing shot, quickly put my headphones on. I wasn't gonna try and lay down or find something along the edge of that little drop off there. So yeah, had to do it freehand. Hit him, I guess, in the guts, you'll see in the footage. But he's shot off. I'll find him in the paddock tomorrow somewhere. But that's me for the night. As it always goes, 4 hours of nothing in the beginning, then 3 foxes pretty much at the same time, and a 4th one on the way back to the car. All in all, a great night. And even if you get nothing, it's still awesome being out in the night and enjoying the bushland and farmland that we have. But thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video.